Hello, I'm Rafi Alunan, and I'd like to talk to you about the way out of poverty. I was not born into poverty, but it doesn't mean that I don't know that it exists or that I don't understand what it is like to be poor. And I have seen how powerful interests have used the poor and the poverty issue merely to project themselves without any desire to address the problem and act to resolve it. I believe poverty is a product of a society that is not mahusay or matino. Our young society has not yet acquired the discipline of doing the right things and doing things the right way. The poor quality of our citizenship produces bad governance. Powerful interests in government and society connive to corner opportunities and resources. Vested interests are placed ahead of the national interest and common good. Poverty and corruption feed on each other that deprive others the chance to survive and prosper. Selfishness, theft, and greed create a culture of entitlement. Serial wrongdoing flows from that. Tolerating or ignoring it fosters the culture of impunity. And in the process, corrupt practices get embedded deeper into our social fabric that leads to loss in trust, credibility, competitiveness, and reliability, which are the hallmarks of a weak and unjust society. The poor are sick and tired of listening to promises at election time and attending poverty summits that amount to nothing. They are impatient for real results that lift them out of their misery. It's come to the point where they don't care how it's done for as long as they benefit, where the ends justify the means. We are fortunate that our unworthiness has not resulted in a nationwide civil war. But the foundations are there. Pocket wars have been waged for the longest time by those who have been in the peripheries for so long, aching for permanent solutions that never come. Some aim to overthrow the government, while others call for secession. In the process, people are driven to more misery and despair in a never-ending spiral of violence and displacement. The way out of our extraordinary situation calls for extraordinary measures. Poverty has been a long-term problem that requires a long-term solution. It calls for a whole-of-nation approach that starts with those who hold the keys to power and opportunity. They must see the light to open the floodgates to inclusive education and wealth creation. They must create an enabling environment that will lure the steady inflow of capital from all parts of the globe to transform the economy. They must create new jobs and livelihood opportunities. If they do that, they would have created a new class of entrepreneurs, employees, and consumers with purchasing power to fuel the cycle of equitable growth and sustainable development. That is possible with universal education and adequate technical training. Knowledge and skills are the passports to a better life, but an education where people are molded to become stewards and at the service of others is best of all. Good citizenship is molded by a real education that serves as the foundation for good government. Our economic transformation will reverse our brain drain. Most of it will reverse the diaspora, reunite families, gradually restore social harmony, and foster a sense of well-being and nationhood. Society will develop a sense of higher purpose and begin to place national interests and common good ahead of selfish interests. A whole-of-nation approach calls upon society and its government to work together to sincerely defeat poverty by curbing corruption. Serial plunder of the people's money through various pork barrel schemes in the guise of development funding must stop. Government capture by big business at the expense of national development must stop. And the blackmail of electoral candidates to support vested interests must stop. Above all, society's toleration of wrongdoing must stop. Perhaps the measurement of our gross domestic product should be left to the private sector, which is actually the country's engine for growth. The government should instead measure our country's development in terms of gross national well-being by focusing on improving the nation's Human Development Index and fulfilling its international commitment to poverty reduction. Poverty is an outcome of social injustice. This is evident around the country, and it is most evident in the autonomous region in Muslim Mindanao, where I served as Secretary of Interior and Local Government. Also in Samar and Negros and Bicol and Mindoro and Northern Luzon. All the things wrong in our society and in the government and the violent backlash that this produced are starkly evident in these places. Poverty aches to be resolved and is waiting for all good Filipinos to start serving each other and working together to lift the nation higher and higher until no one is left behind. Maraming salamat po. This is Rafi Alunan.